And here we are at disassembly. I was able to remove this board from the cluster without having any major problems. It felt terribly wrong to pull off my needles from the tachometer and odometer and the speedometer and the heat gauge and the fuel gauge. It just felt so weird to pull these back, but they came out without hiccup. And now here we are with this circuit board in front of us, and I am not a electrical engineer, but I did call one. What I am and will be doing is thinking about what are the common points of failure. So on the reverse part of this circuit board is that blue plug that you unclip when you remove this from your car, right? So there could probably be a lot of play in this area. And if I look closely, I'll try to zoom if it lets me. These solder joints are meh. They're probably fine, but I'm going to touch them up again. They don't look like they're super tiny, and definitely something which could be worked on with an average solder gun. So the other thing that I'm going to think about out loud to you is that when this started to fail, I had this display, and this display read out bogus weird Klingon numbers. So I would then deduct that probably one of these processors, this is the main processor. How do I know that? I'm just going to take a guess because it's labeled CPU 1, that these solder joints here, or here, or here behind this blue sealant flex and go bad. When I touched my timekeeping device, little stick thing, it flexed the board, and then all of the readout changed and was normal again. So whatever processor or hiccup it was having was coming from some point that with a little bit of movement corrected itself. So pushing on the circuit board caused the circuit board to flex, and in a way where it fixed whatever the problem was. And I'm not 100% sure how all of the pressures affect this stuff when it's assembled, but I do know that that was something that resolved it intermittently and could be a cause. So processors, which probably will be the touchiest and the most work, the general plug-in, and then I'm trying to think of things that would, emit the most heat, because that also could be a cause of failure over time. And I'm going to try to pay even closer attention to all of our screens, here, here, and here. And maybe the ribbon cable. And if I can find out where the voltage regulator is, then I will also address that, because this would put out some heat as well. But going off of my, going off of no map, no circuit map, it's tough to identify that. I'm not positive where that is. So I'm trying to think any, big resistors, capacitors. I guess guy would probably be a prime component for something like that. Anyways, anywhere where it's going to put off heat or flex or break, that's what I'm looking at and inspecting. Nothing has been painfully obvious going through this with a fine-tooth comb, but I'm going to start in one quadrant, work my way all the way through, and just see if there's anything obviously wrong. And then with the soldering iron, I'm going to take the obvious solders and I'm going to touch them up with a little heat. So if there were a bad joint there or something that's going out, that would catch it. And I don't expect it to be an issue after that. The big thing is don't make it worse. I did not go to Batteries Plus to get light bulbs, which is good, because on the 2003 forward or 2004 versions, these are all LEDs. So I don't have to worry about replacing those bulbs or changing them to blue or whatever else. So it has some isopropyl alcohol, not the good stuff, just 70%. I have some Q-tips, and it's touch-up time. I'll keep you updated.